nobody but you. So I wanted to talk about something, and you can comment, like, and subscribe. And I wanted to talk about a more serious topic. Might be a little controversial. Again, we're all here to learn, and life is like school. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care if you're 90 years old. I don't care if you're my age, 35. No matter how much wisdom and education you have, none of us know it all. None of us. Only God knows it all. And what do I mean by that? Megan Good, as y'all know, is divorced. She and her husband wrote a book that I chose to purchase. I'm gonna get that book. Hold on. So yeah, this is the book that they wrote, The Wait. I don't think I read the whole thing because it kind of seemed, not to put the book down, but it seemed like, what's the word I'm looking for? Fake. So I don't think I finished reading it, but it was very encouraging. It was very insightful for a person. My heart goes out to Megan Good because I don't think she was raised in a Christian household. And it's very hurtful and painful to get with somebody who's Christian and then they just, we don't know the details of their relationship, but he did change her life and they were celibate before marriage. And I wanted to talk about that heavy. Like, the question today is there a right and a wrong? I'm sure we know people, you know, I know a person who she does other things. She's not a complete 100% virgin, but she's not necessarily waiting for marriage. I think she's just waiting for that rightful guy. And I had told her, I mean, it's like, not saying that all men are dogs, all men are different, and I could truly say that at 35. All men really are different. You have men who, like I have a homeboy, he's married, and I was thinking about him today, and when he was single, he didn't just sleep around. He would have sex with a girl here and there, but it had to be somebody that he liked and was interested in. He wouldn't just sleep around. And I always admired that about him because most guys will sleep with anything. But my homeboy, no, he was not like that. And he was mature. And, you know, I remember when he started dating his wife and she cleaned his room, I was like, that's the one. That's, you know, and he proposed and they've been married for 5 years. They have 2 kids and yeah. And I had another homeboy I told y'all about. He was the same way. He didn't, even when he was single, he would go up to a year without having sex and it was nothing to him because he was the type of man that he's not going to just stick his stuff in anything. Like, you could be a baddie, that don't mean he going to sleep with you. If you say something out your mouth that's disrespectful or rude, he's not going to talk to you. You know, he's very, you know, very somewhat sensitive, you know, but those are 2 men that I know that perfect examples of they do not sleep around. So when people, and they don't watch porn, so when people say, oh, all men just sleep around, and that's not true at all. One is married, one is single, but yeah. So and they're not religious. Like my homeboy that is married, we actually went to high school together. He's spiritual. Currently he doesn't go to anyone's church, but he is spiritual. He does believe in God. He does pray. But he just has his own conscience to, not just because he's married, but like I said, when he was single, he would act accordingly. He didn't just sleep around. You know, he would have sex here and there, but it wasn't like, oh, you know, like most guys, you know. So Megan Good explained in an article, and it's a little bit in the book, that the foundation of most of her relationships was sex. So when she met her husband or ex-husband, he offered her something different. So that's what attracted her to him. And they were celibate before marriage, but they are divorced. So the question is like, is there a right and is there a wrong? You obviously need things in common other than Jesus. Let's keep it real. You have a lot of one of the members of so the high school I went to is affiliated with New Greater Bethel Ministries. That's the church, and it's like she has the same space with the school, like right next to the school. And one of the members, I'm friends with her on Facebook, she put it up on Facebook years ago, and she made perfect sense. She said a lot of men in the cloth, pastors, they know how to be pastors, they know how to lead, they're great at that, but they don't know how to be husbands. A lot of churches, you know, they don't teach their men how to be husbands. They don't teach them how to be romantic, how to even be a father sometimes. A lot of men lack that, especially in the cloth. You know, she's like, okay, you're a pastor, but you need to be my husband too. You know, so I think that's what's lacking in a lot of so-called Christian households. No one is teaching. They say nowadays, you know, the older women not teaching the younger women. You got a lot of the older men that are not teaching the younger men how to be husbands. They think that a husband is supposed to protect and provide. Like, you pay all the bills, and if somebody tries to break in, you grab your back. But a husband is nurturing too. A husband, you're supposed to be home at night. You still go out on dates. Why would you stop dating once you're married? Like, I never understood that. And nurture your wife. Be there for your wife emotionally, sexually. This is stuff that the church doesn't talk about. So even the and then a lot of people say, oh, you know, young folks nowadays, they just want to give up on their marriage. It's not that. It's just that nobody wants to fake it. And a lot of our older people, whether it be our parents, our aunt, uncle, whoever, who wants to be married to somebody for 40, 50 years, but there's no marriage, and you just married on paper. Nobody wants that. So when you see that it's like going nowhere, you get a divorce, as they should. You know, Megan Good, her husband, you know, he filed for divorce. He's not going to say why, but I'm sure it's a good reason. Like, nobody just gets divorced for no reason, you know. And it just proves that there's no right or wrong way, that you have to, just like Nelly and Ashanti. Now, I'm not a big fan of Ashanti as far as what she did to him. She did cheat on him with Chink Santana, but obviously they get back together, whatever. That's just a perfect example of there's no right and wrong, right? I think any relationship that's off and on, you have to be careful with that, because there's a reason why you were off, and pay attention to the reason why you were off. But yeah, so it's working for them. They're married, engaged, whatever, having a baby on the way, so that works for them, right? And it really makes you get to thinking of relationships. The second marriage I wanted to talk about was Tia Mowry and her ex-husband. Now, if y'all seen Divorce in the Black, it was funny how Tyler Perry picked out, that's the one that was the abusive ex-husband or whatever. That is Tia Mowry's ex-husband. And it's like he played that role so good, you know, and it makes you think of how was he treating Tia in the marriage, you know. And then Megan Good, it's crazy how in the movie he filed for divorce, and that was her real life story. Like, her husband left her, like he filed for divorce or whatever. No one knows the real of what was going on in her marriage or his marriage. And those two played a married couple on the set, and then they got divorced. But Tia Mowry was a virgin. She stayed a virgin till marriage. That's how she was raised, and that's what she did. But again, look at her situation now, divorced. So it's just showing you that there's no right or wrong way. And social media, they do it a lot. Oh, you know, like, people love picking on Carly Red. Perfect example, right? Now, you could say what you want, but at the end of the day, this is Carly Red's third marriage, and the people that she is with, they put a ring on it. So people could say what they want, but she's obviously doing something right to get the ring. And there's a scene that they put on social media. Bambi was like, how many rings you got now? Like, you know, so she was counting or whatever. And yeah, so for the people in the back, for the haters out there with Carly Red, oh, she a hoe, whatever, this is her third marriage. So obviously she makes her mistakes, but so what? Who cares? She was married to her daughter's father. She left. They could have still been married, but she left because, yes, she left because he got arrested and put in jail. So she filed for divorce. They could have still been married, but she didn't want to do that. Her second marriage was, she brought him on the show, and you know, he went to jail for the PPE loan. But long before that, he had a baby on her. So she had every right to leave him. Good for her. And then this one, she's engaged again. So people could say what they want about Carly Red, but she's getting the ring. She's getting the ring. So what else? Yeah, so Tia Mowry, you know, she stayed a virgin and stuff, but she's divorced. So it's just showing you, like, when you really think about it, just like they tell us what? Oh, you're supposed to wait 6 months before you have sex with a guy. Oh, you're supposed to wait 90 days before you have sex with a guy. You know what the reality is? Regardless if you have sex with him or not, a man has it in his mind what he gonna do with you. And I know that because I've been in scenarios where I didn't have sex with the guy at all. And guess what? He didn't want to be with me. So you can't say, oh, if I keep myself and if I don't have sex with him, then he'll respect me, you know, more. No, that's not necessarily true, because I can say from my own experience, like I told y'all, with Ivan, the one that lied about everything, I did not have sex with him. We didn't do oral. He didn't penetrate, nothing. We went out on dates that I paid for, and he would do disappearing acts on me. I wouldn't hear from him for weeks and months at a time. And we did nothing physical, absolutely nothing. So people might say, oh, well, he was doing disappearing acts, you shouldn't have. But I did not have sex with him at all, right? And he was doing disappearing acts on me. So I can say from experience, even when you don't give it up, they act funny style. So it doesn't even matter. And I can say that from my own experience. You know, I think sometimes it is good to not give it up. I'm going to say this from, again, my own experience. It's good to get to know a person because they might be a weirdo. So there was this guy I had a crush on at a former job, and I didn't do nothing with him. We didn't kiss, nothing, right? We hung out, and I found out he was a weirdo, and I was happy I didn't do nothing with him because he would get jealous. One time we went to a bar, and he picked me up. Like, I was talking to another person, and he literally picked me up and moved me to the other side. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, you acting like a jealous boyfriend. We didn't, I kid you not, we didn't do nothing physical at all. And he hits me up from time to time, and I'm like, yo, if you can't handle this as a friendship, that's weird. Like, why are you getting jealous when we in a public space? We're not dating. I'm not sleeping with you. I could understand if I was sleeping with you or kissing up on you and you getting jealous. I did not kiss this man at all, but yet he would get jealous when I would interact with other men. So I'm like, nah. So I could truly say from my experience, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Even with my stalkers that I've had, you know, 2 of them I was physical with, and the other 2 I wasn't. And one of them was a friend, I never kissed him, I never did nothing, and he went buck wild crazy. And then whatchamacallit, the first one I told y'all about, he was acting weird and we didn't even do nothing as of yet. So it doesn't matter in a lot of instances, you know, a lot of people say. But I will say this, do what makes you comfortable. So if you're dating a guy and he says, I'm celibate before marriage, ladies, if you're not comfortable with that, then you have to let that be known. Because you don't want to, I feel like this, you don't want to go against your beliefs for the sake of somebody else's. Because he could marry you and then you end up like making good. You see what I'm saying? Like, all of that for what? Like, you know, so it's like, if you're not comfortable with it, then you should move accordingly. That's what I would say. You know, when I was dating Ivan, my spirit did not connect with him. I did not trust him, right? I wasn't holding myself till marriage. I just was celibate because I felt like I'm not just going to sleep with anything walking, and I wanted to make sure when I do sleep with someone that that person likes me back. I'm not doing this to, you know? So I knew that he didn't feel the same way in return, so I wasn't going to sleep with him. And that was my thing. I'm like, and then my thing is I was paying for dates, so I'm not going to be paying for dates, letting you borrow money, and you want pussy? Like, no. Like, no, I'm not sleeping with you and I'm paying for all the dates. How does that look? That's pathetic. I'd rather be me. I'd rather be used for money than sex any day. Like, no. But yeah, so Megan Good and Tia Mowry are perfect examples of you can't follow other people's paths. You gotta follow your own path. Comment, like, and subscribe. And this is very much open for discussion. How do y'all feel about the divorces? Personally, I am personally hurt because, like I said, I got the book. So it's like, I read this book for what? That's how I feel. And it's just very disappointing because they did it God's way. They did. So what happens when you do it God's way and it still doesn't work out? What's the advice from the older heads? How do y'all feel about it? Those are my thoughts. Put your thoughts in the comment section and let's talk about it.